Hola amigos, welcome back to another episode of La Vida Verde podcast. I'm your host Matthew Human here at Finca Vida Verde. Oh, my guest today is one of my great neighbors, Bianca Silva-Landis. She is a movement artist, an aerialist, a dancer, and a fire dancer. It's going to be a great conversation. I got to say thank you immediately to Ecotease Mate this morning. You kept me going. It's going to be a great conversation. We hope you enjoy. Bianca Silva-Landis, welcome to La Vida Verde podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and let's see. I know Bianca. She's my neighbor here in Alegria, and we were recently performed together. You were performing at Envision. We got to hang out there a bit, and let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
For all the world to see, tell us a little bit about where you grew up. Where
Okay.
you're Chilean, no? Yo, everybody, what's happening? This is Humano. Guys, thank you, everybody who's been watching this podcast. I want to invite you to join our Patreon, patreon.com/La Vida Verde podcast. We are looking for ways to build our community. We have a lot of great content on there, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. It helps fund this program so we can keep having great guests, great conversations. Go check it out, patreon.com/La Vida Verde podcast. Pura vida.
Yeah, so both my parents are from Chile. They moved to the U.S. to study for college, and then had me. We moved to Naples, Florida, which is where I predominantly grew up until I was about 12 when I moved to New York City. I was really involved with classical ballet, so that was kind of my whole life.
Starting in New York or in...
No, starting in Naples. I started dancing when I was 3, but then started taking it very seriously around 7. And I was like competing and auditioning and all the things. Yeah, so when I was 11, I auditioned for a summer program in New York for a very prestigious ballet school and moved there for the year-round program after the summer program.
Wow.
With my mom. Yeah, we had some family in New York, so...
Wait, why'd you move to New York?
For the ballet training, but also just...
Your family moved there for your ballet training?
My mom. Yeah.
Mom.
And she had a lot of her siblings living in New Jersey area.
Were your parents separated at that point, or...?
Yeah, it's a little complicated, so...
Ooh, I like how this
is where it gets interesting. So when I was about 10, I had a little brother who was 3 years old. He passed away. So shortly after...
An accident or something?
Yeah, he drowned in our pool, which is, pretty traumatic for all of us.
Wow.
But yeah, afterwards, my parents...
Sending your brother some love. He's
yeah.
still out there somewhere.
He's my little angel. He watches over us. I know it. But it was difficult for my parents afterwards. So my parents separated about a year later. That's when my mom and I moved to New York. And then 6 months being in New York, my dad passed away. Another freak accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, he was in Miami or in Florida?
At the time, he was in Chile. So he got remarried. And the day after his wedding, he had his accident.
No.
Yeah. It was just like telenovela kind of stuff.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, sending your dad some love. Your dad's out there
My other
somewhere.
angel. Yeah. So since then, it's been my mom.
Wow,
we
Bianca,
just...
you've dealt with death a lot in your life.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It it's still always hard, but doesn't really scare me anymore. It's a topic I'm very comfortable with.
Totally.
Yeah, so from there on, it was just
You and
me
Mom.
and my mom. Yeah. And thankfully, we had her side of the family in the area, so they were really supportive in helping us. And I was just, full into ballet, didn't even go to normal school. I was going to a performing arts school where, I would go to school for 2 hours and then go to ballet for, 2 hours and go back to school for 2 hours and then go back to ballet until, the evening. So it was, my whole life.
Dang.
Yeah.
Do you think you channeled some of that into that, as a way of, processing all the debt, all of that was...
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember, obviously I was very distraught and affected by all of it, but at the same time, I don't think I fully processed it at that age. It wasn't until like my 20s, I would say, that I was
when
like,
it started.
oh man, yeah, there's still a lot in here that needs to be addressed.
Oh.
Yeah, and especially when I got with Eric, my husband, a lot of like abandonment wounds and like fear of like losing him and all that started coming up. So yeah, it was,
Aw.
yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing all this. Very
Yeah.
vulnerable. And so you were doing the ballet thing. How long did you kind of do that? Yeah,
Yeah.
how long did that go? And
So I
you
was
went to
in
college, you said, or?
Yeah, I was in New York for 4 years. The last 2 years were pretty rough. So the ballet industry it's tough. It's quite toxic.
Yeah.
You have like the coaches, the teachers playing mind games with
Right.
children, pretty much. Like it's like, yeah, very emotionally manipulative and mentally abusive. Sometimes physical, but not in my case. And
Thankfully.
yeah. But it was like, it was starting to really get to me. I mean, like my self-esteem and my self-worth and value were just plummeting from just being in that environment. And just like the toxicity between all the girls and just it's just so much competition and like
yeah.
your look and your body
Totally.
and like the body dysmorphia and all that. So around 16, my mom and I moved back to Florida. This time we moved to Miami so I could train at a school there. I was there for a year. It was even worse than my experience in New York. Like I had one professor who was like really abusive towards me. And it
Wow.
just, it got me to that point where I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Like-
I don't want to do this anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. Like to the point where I was like, I will never touch a ballet class again, and I still haven't to this day.
Wow.
I came back to movement many years later, but never a ballet class.
Yeah, because ballet is kind of specific, that specific world.
Yeah,
Too, huh?
yeah, and it's a beautiful art, but it's very like everything has to be perfect.
Yeah, and like what is there like a future in ballet? I mean, like
It's changing. I think a lot of people are speaking up against like all
abuse.
yeah. So I think a lot of the people that are coming into management positions are improving.
Like when you say abuse, you mean like there's a lot of sexual abuse, physical
There
abuse,
is that too.
emotional
Yeah.
abuse,
All of it.
all of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. For me, it was mainly like
mostly
like
young women.
Yeah,
right?
and like kids, like children. Like I was, 12, 13, and so like vulnerable, and all you want is like the affirmation, the validation, the attention from your teachers, and they use that. They like play with it, and play mind games. So
Were they
yeah,
male coaches mostly?
mostly female, but a couple
Mostly
male
female.
too. Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. So it taught me a lot.
Wow, who knew?
Yeah.
So then,
Yeah.
after ballet,
Yep. So then after that, we moved back to Naples. I was there for a year, and then I went off to college in Orlando.
Orlando.
Yep, and
What'd
I
you
was
study?
there. Media cultural studies. Yeah. Yep.
What is that? What is? Did
It was
you
like
do
a
any-
mix between journalism and socialism. It was very like activism, social justice warrior kind
Okay.
of. Which I was really into the first couple years, yeah. But then I went to a study abroad program in Bali, which was really interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was
When-
there
when
for
you were in college?
Yeah, it was I think my junior year. I was there for 4 months, living with a local homestay family. So it was like
Cool.
a very like we got to experience traditional life. They're not just
Balinese
Canggu
culture.
surfing influencer life, like
Wow.
real. Yeah, I mean we were going to the temples, we were living with the families, learning about their religion, and yeah, it just really changed like my perspective on everything. Like I just felt like so much of what I was learning at school was like an echo chamber. Like it just, I don't know, when I tried to bring those conversations to people like in outside, like out daily life, they're just like, what are you talking about? Like this is just not relatable.
You mean like the social justice stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
some
tends
of
to be that way. It's funny how
Yeah,
like
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of it's like it's very specific to like I feel like to American culture. Like it's like this
yeah.
American culture has this like thing of wanting to better itself through
Yeah.
self-flagellation.
Yeah, totally.
or
It does
something.
feel that way. Yeah, repent your sins kind of energy.
I know. It's like I know. I was an activist for a lot of years too. It's like kind of.
Yeah.
I think that's something a lot of us. I've
I
actually
think
a lot
so
of the
too,
people I've
yeah.
interviewed in,
Yeah,
on this
yeah, yeah.
podcast from this area have a past in that
Yeah.
kind of was I don't know. So it kind of makes sense in a way. that that we all kind of found our life here.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
in a place where we can live our live our activism.
Yeah,
You know.
definitely. Yeah,
So
so after studying abroad, I went back to school and I had 6 months left and it was really tough. I'd actually also spent a semester in Chile.
it was tough. Why? Because you were like going. You had opened your
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
broadened your perspective a little bit,
Yeah.
and you had sucked back into that old world that you no longer
Yeah,
resonated
yeah, yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah. And it was interesting because my professors were all kind of like, you changed. And if I like expressed something outside of what they were telling me, it they felt very like resentful or angry towards it. So it was an interesting
Interesting. And at the
experiencing.
same
Yeah.
time, you were set, like you said, that was around the same time you were starting to process all this stuff from your family. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, definitely.
you were smoking a lot of weed.
Not at all. No,
No,
no, I've never been.
never been a pothead.
No, it doesn't sit well with me.
No alcohol. No,
A little
bit.
bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
College, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was a pothead. I did not. But that's for me. That's was like helping me move through all my stuff. I was like having all
Yeah.
these big like, oh god.
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
then after school, where was I? I was in Naples for a little bit working there. But I was just ready to get out of Florida and experience something different.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, Los Angeles called to me.
You got
So
into the industry. Did you get into like the
the wellness, yeah.
Oh,
Like I
wellness.
was being drawn to that, and I knew that there was so much of that out there, and people who were really into all the wellness things.
What year was
so
that?
2019. Yeah, it's like a year before the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
So I was there for a year, and it was really interesting because I was working for kind of corporate wellness job.
Wait, and you weren't with Eric at that point?
No, mm-mm. No,
Oh, you
yeah,
met
yeah,
him like
yeah.
what? Okay,
Well,
interesting.
okay, we'll come back to Eric. I
Okay.
actually met Eric when I was 17, but yeah, we didn't get together until the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well-
that's an interesting story.
Okay,
We'll come back to.
Okay, wellness. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I was in LA for a year and just got to the point where I was really unhappy with my job there,
Mm-hmm.
even though it was wellness based and they preached all the wellness, spirituality things. It didn't really feel in alignment with the job. And I put in my notice. I booked a trip for Costa Rica to go to Envision. That was
Okay.
my first year,
2020.
2020. And then also booked a week trip to Peru for ayahuasca retreat.
Okay.
Yep. So put all my stuff in storage in LA, went to Envision, and then after went to Peru. And then literally the day I was supposed to fly back, the country was shutting down. So
So-
I got back to the US like just in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had that experience getting back to Costa Rica.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So wow.
Yeah.
Then you,
yeah,
the
yeah.
ayahuasca, you did it. What was your experience?
Yeah,
Do you
it's
mind
funny.
sharing?
No, not at all. The first, so I did 4 ceremonies total. The first 2, nothing happened. Like I
You
was
didn't experience
stone
anything.
cold sober. Yeah, which was I did not expect because I'm usually very sensitive to substances, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing. And by the third one, yeah, a lot came up.
Processing all the past.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
all
Like
the
my
death
dad
stuff,
made an
yeah.
appearance. Actually, my mom's ex-husband, so my ex-stepdad, he also died. He also showed up during my ceremony.
Wow.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Wow,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
such an interesting Bianca. Who knew you had all this like this death around you? But it's like death is to me like maybe you've come to recognize this too or not, but like
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of death around me too. As you get older, people start dying. I mean,
Right,
that's just
yeah, yeah,
the way
yeah.
life is.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it's just like I guess I got super comfortable with it. I'm
Same. I mean, it's natural. Like everything.
like, it's part of the
Yeah,
process,
dies.
and we're all gonna live, we're all gonna die, and we don't get to say when that is, and and it feels like a blessing just to like be alive, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
'cause,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it teaches to hold on to those that you love
Yeah.
for sure. You know,
Oh.
don't take them for granted.
So you went
Yeah.
back to where after Peru?
I went back to Naples, and that's where Eric was living, and we were, hanging out as friends. And
Okay,
then,
Eric Landis
yeah.
is DJ Earth Grooves.
Yes, yeah.
He's our bro. He's our neighbor here in Alegria. Him and Bianca you guys both do
Fire spinning.
Fire spinning.
Yeah.
In fact,
Flow arts.
Flow arts. Yeah, I met them. I think I first saw you guys at the our birthday party. I think I met you before that previously, but
Yeah.
last year we did a tourist party and they showed up.
Oh
and
yeah, we spun fire for that.
spun
Yeah, that
fire.
was
And
fun.
since you guys have been like spinning fire at all the
Yeah,
events, and we did
yeah,
New
yeah, yeah.
Year's this year, Monkey Medicine.
Yes, yeah,
And,
that was great.
yeah. So yeah, so
Yeah.
you met Eric, and what happened?
Yeah, so before I'd left for LA, actually, we'd been hanging out as friends. When I graduated college, we were hanging out again.
How did you meet him when you were
And
17?
through mutual friends.
So you guys were in
Yeah.
the same community together?
Kind of, yeah, yeah. But we're 9 years apart. So when I was 17, he was 26. So it was like, we knew of each other and spoke, but we weren't like friends at the time. And then, yeah, after college, when I moved back to Naples, we started hanging out as friends. And he was trying to start, more than just being friends. And I was kind of always like, no, we're just friends.
Oh.
But I don't know, when I came back from LA and Peru and all that, something changed. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like ayahuasca.
Yeah, maybe,
You
maybe
made
that.
space.
Yeah, honestly,
Sometimes
that
you
might
can't.
have.
That's
yeah.
the way I think it is. If you're full,
Yeah.
you don't have
Yeah,
space
yeah.
for other energy. It's like sometimes
Absolutely.
it takes being open.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I was not ready for a serious relationship before that time. So it's all about the timing.
And you guys are married though. Like, how did that happen? Kind of quickly?
Yeah, it
or?
did. It did happen quick. I think we got engaged within a year, married within 2 years, bought the land here in 2 years, and then.
So that was
yeah.
like right after your engagement, or right after
Pretty
your marriage,
much,
you bought
yeah.
the land in Alegria. How did
Yeah,
you
yeah,
find
yeah.
Alegria?
Well,
Which, by the way, Alegria is like right
yeah,
here.
that's
We're
why we
sitting on
keep
the
looking over
upper-
them. Like,
the upper porch of our main house, and it's like I'm looking at all the houses over
yeah,
there.
yeah. So couple different ways. Eric was familiar with Steven's work, so he had
Okay.
kind of seen about Alegria through his Instagram.
I see.
We had some friends who went to Punta Mona. They were telling us about Alegria.
Who was it?
Matthew and Elena. They're from Naples.
Okay,
yeah.
maybe if I think I know them, but
yeah,
I'm-
young
it's-
couple.
Yeah.
They're really nice.
Anyway,
And then we saw the Zac Efron show. It was like three things that were coming up at the
Right.
same time. We're like, what is this place? Like, we kind of have to go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at a place where I was just so done with Florida and kind of the U.S. too, and wanted to explore other options. And so originally we were looking at Costa Rica and just finding like our own land. Like, we saw 30 acres of a coffee farm, I don't know, down in the middle of the jungle. And then once we kind of started thinking about it, we're like, yeah, that's really intimidating and daunting. We had a 3-acre little farm in Florida, and we knew how much work that was.
right.
So the idea of doing it in community seemed a lot more, approachable.
Are you happy with that decision?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, community it's
You gotta
beautiful
find your-
and challenging.
You have to
It's-
find your.
yeah.
It's totally. You got to find your space within it. You got to
Yeah.
find your level of boundaries.
Exactly.
Like, you can't say
yeah.
yes to everything because there's
No.
too much, especially in your community. There's like 140 families.
Yeah. And I mean, right now there's only like, I don't know, 30 people living
Yeah.
there.
30 people or 30 families.
I don't know, 30 people, I would say. Is it more? Maybe it's more now.
gotta be more.
Yeah, it keeps growing. I
There's
don't know.
gotta be
People
more.
come and go too.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm really happy that we came here. And even when it gets hard, I remind myself of what it was like back in Florida. And I'm always grateful that we made this choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
And so I guess you guys, you're pretty involved, and Eric too. Both of you are pretty involved in like festival culture because you're you're with your dance and aerial, and that's like you performed at Envision this year. You
Yep.
performed at our events, so event production is maybe one of those places where we
Yeah.
overlap. Oops, sorry, where we overlap. So yeah, I'm just curious. Like, what do you think? I guess I was thinking about the future and like, do you have any specific plans like for what you guys are like as a couple, as a family, or as like like what's next for you? Like anything in particular? And
I mean, we definitely want to get involved with creating more artistic events or opportunities here in the area. Like doing monkey medicine with you guys was great.
Yeah.
So we need to do more of that.
Yeah.
We definitely want to make that happen. And then I mean, I think we're also thinking about starting a family, and like right now, but
Do you have a baby in there?
No,
Not yet.
I'm not pregnant.
This could be it. She's gonna announce it
Announcing
right
on
here.
Finca Vida Verde.
No babies. No babies yet.
No.
But maybe soon.
Yeah. So I think,
Good. Aw.
especially like now that we're like settling in and getting comfortable with our
Right.
house and the community.
Yeah, and you guys' house is cool. It's like a lot of found objects and like
Yeah,
recycled,
yeah.
reused. Eric's a very creative,
So
like,
handy.
handyman. Yeah,
Yeah.
he can just kind of like work with whatever he's got, which I think is super. It's super cool because it's. Yeah, I mean that's like if you can do that, you can work with any. I mean that's amazing.
Yeah,
you probably saved a
yeah.
lot of money.
Yes.
Building.
Yeah, we
'cause
didn't really have a choice at one point. We're like, all right, we have to make things ourselves.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so cool, and you have a little guest house where Erica and Ryan are staying right now. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So
Yeah.
the family, and then you'll be more like taking care of the kid at home kind of thing until.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of visions for the land too that we want to get to.
Your personal land,
Yeah.
like
yeah,
your farm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like.
I mean, we want to create like a lot of artistic structures within it as well. Like cliche word, but like portals within it,
Cool.
like just with natural material. And just, create like some hangout spaces that, I mean, because it's in the jungle, you know,
Yeah,
we
you
have
guys are
so
right
much
in the forest.
wildlife. I mean, the monkeys are there every day. We had a pisote hanging out yesterday, the guatusas, lots of birds, toucans. So to create more of those like outdoor activation areas that
Totally.
you can hang out in, I think that will be really magical.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else? Is that it? I mean, is there anything else on your heart right now? Like, what's sitting with you right now?
I think I'm feeling kind of at a place where I have to stay where I am. Not have to, want to. You know, telling you about how much I've moved and all the different directions which my life took me. I think for the first time in my life, I'm kind of feeling like, no, I'm where I'm supposed to be, which is, really, really beautiful because I've always been like longing for this place to call home and I've never quite felt it. And I think here I'm starting to feel that. Yeah. So that's really exciting, and to just like be with myself and not constantly be seeking like external stimuli and needing to like go do this and go do that, which is so ingrained for me, especially with doing ballet. Like it was always like I need to do more, be enough to like be worthy. For the first time I kind of feel like, no, I can just exist.
That's such a good feeling.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
And you guys just came through this big, like, with building the house and finishing the house.
Yeah.
It's
Moving to a new
a
country.
big process.
Yeah.
Just to be
It
for
is.
a while
Yes,
and, like, enjoy your house.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's so easy to just see like all the things that you can keep doing and keep adding.
I was kind of in that. I mean, I had a good, like, I'd say 5 years of, like, just enjoying.
Yeah, like honeymoon phase.
Yeah,
Kind of.
of just, like, enjoying the farm and, like, slowly, you know, build, plant trees. And now I'm in a big phase of, like, explosion of, like, build, more,
Right,
go. It comes in phases.
That's life though.
It may happen again, but for now, I think that's a good thing to just stay and enjoy your life.
Yeah. So,
Well, it's been great.
Yeah.
Bianca, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think
Thanks for having me.
Do you feel complete?
Yeah, definitely.
And if are you available for events and for what?
Teaching too. I teach some of the children in Alegria, and I teach adults as well. So, Bianca Bamboo _ on Instagram if you want to find me.
Bianca Bamboo
Yes.
_ on Instagram.
It's my performing artist name. Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have you back at the Monkey Medicine this
yeah.
year and all the good things. And we'll definitely
Future events.
I definitely I like that's the thing I want to say. I think we're definitely ripe in this area. Maybe somewhere or with all the collective amazing talent we have.
There's so much
here,
potential.
There's something's gonna happen.
Totally.
So stay tuned. All right, everybody. My guest was Bianca Silva-Landis. I'm Matthew Human. This is La Vida Verde podcast. We release episodes every Tuesday on YouTube. You can also find us on the Apple and Spotify. if you want to listen to us, but you want to see this beautiful woman and myself with my gorgeous hair today on YouTube. And we will be, also check out, we are on Instagram at Finca Vida Verde CR, Facebook, Finca Vida Verde, FincaVidaVerde.com, which we don't mention very often. And most importantly, our Patreon. We are ready to freaking rock this Patreon. We have all this cool content, like kind of content that we filmed after events and like stuff that we put out just for the Patreon. So please, it supports us. It keeps this podcast going. Patreon.com/La Vida Verde podcast. We'll see you next time. Pura vida.